All right, it's Sunday, September 22nd, 6:30 p.m. Eastern Standard. Let's take a look at the charts and see what we're looking at for this week. So I've just mapped out what's going on in the news this week. I've also mapped out positions looking at the commitment of traders data and just the general charts, but let's kind of talk through each position and what makes sense to track this week. So, starting with silver, I exited my silver position for a profit. I'd like to get back in silver if we see a bit of a pullback here. So, if I were to identify an area that I would probably feel comfortable accumulating silver, I think we'd probably be looking somewhere between these Fibonacci levels, and it's kind of a wide range here. I mean, silver's still a very good momentum play to the upside, but I'd like to see a bit of a correction and pullback. If we look at Elliott wave theory, I mean, we're kind of in this, we were in this corrective phase down to $28, and then we're in this kind of move up in the wave count. So this kind of extension move higher we're likely going to see, and to be honest, this would actually have to be above for Elliott wave theory. This would have to not go below that previous wave here. So if this did break below $28, then we're probably starting to look more bearish than bullish. So if this does have a correction and remains above $28 here, the last corrective period, then we'll likely see a bounce and then another corrective move up. And right now we're seeing pretty bullish indications here in silver, but I'd like to just see a bit of a pullback somewhere between $30 and 28 and change in order to re-enter a position. So that's what I like here. Gold, very much a momentum play to the upside here. We're bouncing off a little bit of resistance. I'll probably play silver versus gold. I think there's just more risk to reward. It just makes better sense here. Platinum's starting to sell off a little bit. Potential topping tail. I'd like to get in again a little bit lower here, somewhere between I'd say 940 and lower, in order to justify getting in a position. Palladium, I would like to also try to catch the top here, but I believe that top might be put in. So I think if we see maybe a retest back to around 1095, 1100, it might make sense for us to go short. And if it breaks above this 1126, then we are likely heading higher. So that's my thoughts on palladium. Copper's looking bullish as well. Would like to get in on something here closer to the swing lows. So somewhere around $4.10 down to sub 4. Corn, not much doing here. Not liking the positioning, not liking the setup. I believe we missed a move to the upside on that one. Same thing with oats. Missed a big upside move there, which is okay. Not markets we're going to trade right now. Treasuries we're out of. Not really liking. That was a bad play on my part. Crude oil, I am liking as well, but looking to get in heating oil, which has been a little bit of a laggard over the past couple of days since this bullish move up on oil and on the energies. So looking to get in a heating oil position here. They track pretty close to each other. Would like to see a fill here. Might even end up moving this up just to get the fill. But liking energies going long. There's a lot of talks in the market of energies being bearish and the market being bearish. It's been the complete opposite. So I think we'll continue to fade and go long energies. I like that play a lot. Natural gas is looking very bullish here. I would love to see a gap fill to go long, but I don't know if we're going to get that in any reasonable period of time here. There's a gap on this 4-hour chart. Would like to see it, correct before going long, but right now we will stay out of that one. We'll watch it closely. And then bonds, we're not really doing much with. As far as currencies, what are the ones that I am finding interest in right now? I'm going to actually switch this out to the Swiss franc. I like the Swiss franc on a potential short. It's very crowded on the long side as of right now. So, and we also have this gap in the chart, which I always love gap fills. I mean, if you look at gaps for most on most charts, they almost always get filled and usually in a pretty reasonable period of time. So I like shorting this anywhere up here. If we kind of correct, and really this has actually gone up to here. Yeah, if we can, get a little bit of a bounce back, probably around this resistance line here. I'm going to draw this in. We can kind of retest that line. I would love to go short there if we get rejected. and at least a profit fill here with this gap fill. Set an alert for that one. Yeah, that's a good trade. I like if this could bounce up a little bit and get rejected. I might actually even put in, I mean, I like that topping tail here, but I believe, yeah, that was a couple days ago. Yeah, I like going short on the Swiss, and it actually goes pretty well. I mean, if we think about it, the Swiss is a safe haven currency. Markets are going up. I think the Swiss probably be going down if markets continue higher. I might throw in a sell order here with the high retesting the 1.2025, we'll call it, and at least profit at 1.1716. Yeah, I think that would be a pretty good trade here to go short. I like that trade a lot. Small position. We'll set a limit order. We'll take a look at it if it fills. I would love to see just a quick gap fill and take a small profit. I might even let me look real quick how big of a position that should be, because we may actually decide to make a bigger position there. You just do a little bit of math off screen for you guys. Forgive me here. Almost done. Just want to see how big of a position size we should take. On the Swiss. If we're looking at a move from 1.192 1.202. Yeah, we'll hold one position here. About a $1,250 risk. Could go up as much as two, but probably just try to grab a quick gap fill there. And the yen is actually a really good short opportunity here. We've had some bullish news come out, and this thing started to sell off and had a topping tail. We're looking to get a fill in order to get in on this position. It's been kind of chopping around a little bit, but I would like to go short here. I think there's a good opportunity for us to go short. Interest rate decision came out last week. They did not raise rates, even though there were talks of it. The currency's kind of just been bouncing around sideways, but I do like going short yen, and I actually like pairing that with long dollar right now. We're in on a long dollar position we executed on Friday. I think the dollar is really starting to bottom here, and we had that bottom wick a couple of days back, and I think we've got really some good movement for heading up here. I mean, the dollar's had a pretty interesting kind of ebb and flow to it, and if we even look here, yeah, I mean, we could test lower. It's totally possible. Um, we broke a little bit below this resistance line and headed to new lows recently, and that's on the weekly. But if we look on the daily, this does look like it's starting to bottom. Um, yeah, I'd like to see the dollar kind of retest and start heading up here, getting a little bit of a rebound. I mean, all these other currencies are hitting swing highs. The euro, the pound just hit new highs. Canadian dollar starting to sell off just a little bit. Aussie dollar's way up. So all these are hitting highs and starting to get a little bit crowded. And then the dollar is actually getting crowded on the short side. Had a pretty big swing in the data after that sell off on I believe last Tuesday. If we look what prices were last Tuesday, Tuesday was the 17th when the commitment of traders came out. The 17th was this day. It was looking pretty good to go long on that day, and it wicked even lower. So I like how the dollar is set up right now. So we'll hold that position. And I've actually noticed a good momentum play here to potentially go long on the S&P. And we actually are also seeing short on the Russell being set up. So Kind of interesting, kind of a flip from where we were a few months ago, where the Russell was lagging and it was good to go long Russell and potentially short equities. And now it's looking the complete opposite to get the momentum and go long with the S&P even while it's at new highs. Actually, get rid of our Fibonacci. So we're not in those positions yet, but we're just kind of assessing what makes sense here. And I would like to get long S&P if we can maybe retest some of this kind of consolidation from a couple of days ago or a couple of weeks ago. Then I would like to go long there. I'm still liking the idea of going long on Ethereum and Bitcoin. Bitcoin's testing a top channel right now, but looking pretty bullish. And I've added to those in my long portfolio, but they're hard to trade as far as position sizing. It's either too big or too small. So we're probably not going to do those from a trading standpoint. But that I think is pretty much it. We talked long energies. We talk about the short Russell setup from a commitment to trader standpoint. Live cattle has been actually starting to break out here. So if we could retest that channel, I think we would probably go long on live cattle as well. Set a couple alerts there. Short coffee as well is another one that I noticed. So let's actually swap out sugar. Sugar's been on a tear. Sugar for coffee. We have kind of this zone that it broke out of and then broke back into. It's an interesting channel we've been trading in with coffee here. I think coffee is pretty difficult to size. So we might not be able to get in on one of these positions unless we kind of bounce off the bottom of this channel here. Then I might consider a position. This coffee's looking kind of interesting from a commitment to traders standpoint, anywhere around there. Talked about the Swiss. Talked about the S&P, silver, natural gas. I jump over to here that we covered is actually in a pretty nice upward channel. And again, we would probably want to see a gap fill, but kind of trading in this channel here if you look at this. So that's interesting. I'm sure at some point there will be a short opportunity on that. Maybe if we look at this like 38% retrace and some of these other resistance lines that are coming in right about here, that could be a short opportunity. And then a couple of stocks to watch. So just earnings that's coming up this week. Progress Software, Micron, Jeffries, I believe Costco as well. So a couple stocks we'll watch, but that is kind of what we're looking at here. I like long energies right now. I like probably going long on the S&P on any minor pullbacks at this point if we get them. Otherwise, it's a missed trade. We're not going to try to chase it. I also like from an A setup standpoint, maybe short the Russell. I'm not a huge fan of shorting equities in general, so that's a tough trade to get. And I like trading silver here on any pullbacks. I like going potentially long natural gas and long on copper because we are in a pretty strong upward market right now. And I also will add in short on palladium. Anything around 1095, I think, is a good opportunity to short here. We might have missed that, but I would like to see a retest and then potentially shorting. So we're going to track that with an alert. And yeah, I like long silver. I like long risk on assets right now. I like long equities. I like long energies. I like long gold and silver. I like long copper. And then I like long US dollar. So that may coincide a little bit. If dollar's going up, we're probably seeing a dip in silver. We're probably seeing a dip in gold potentially. Those things are all priced in US dollar, but yeah, I'd like to see US dollar start to rally here. And that might give us an opportunity for a pullback also with end of quarter profit taking to be able to jump in and get some extra positions in silver again, and even to get some better positions in energies. So we'll keep an eye out. We've got a couple orders in place here. The Swiss, we've got a short there. We've got long dollar. We've got short yen. We're trying to get filled. We've got long heating oil. We're trying to get filled. We'll look at silver throughout the week. and we'll look at the S&P to go long as well. So that's what we're taking a look at, and we will talk again soon, likely during the week. I think as far as just news items, the only thing that really jumps out is Friday is PCE data. So that should have some impact on the markets, but otherwise, we will talk during the week. Thanks, guys.